do we make our website more visible on Google searches? And with the introduction of agentic coding, especially, um, you see a lot more websites popping up because the person that once had their idea in mind, but might have thought it would take too much time. They're already spending enough time on other projects for their own work. Now they have that time to actually make those websites. So this is the exact same thing I encountered as well. I started my own project called Bluebird Documentation, and if we go to the main page, you'll see it looks a little bit different. That's because the original project that I launched was built with React, being a client rendered application. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but it's not really the best thing actually for search engine optimization. And what I was seeing is the only way I would access this website really was by typing, the domain in the browser, or by literally searching Bluebird documentation. So what you'll see is originally I was just seeing this URL here, right, coming up. You might notice this down here. That's what we'll get to later in a second. But being a documentation website, I had wanted public documents to be visible to anyone, right? If someone searches a particular document, it should come up on Google in the searches. So that's when I realized that client rendered applications actually aren't the best for this. It takes a lot longer for Google to crawl those links, and I don't even know if it is possible. I mean, I've had my React project running for about a year and a half, and I have not seen public documents or particular links coming up other than the main the main page. So this led me to kind of look into this a little bit more, and that's when I realized that actually server rendered applications are a little bit better for this. The reason why is because your client rendered application, like your React framework, is just sending mostly an empty HTML file, and anything else that is needed is being fetched, right? So Google isn't able to do much with that empty HTML file that it's getting. Whereas when you have a server rendered application, no, you're sending Google your entire HTML page, right? With all its contents, its metadata, and the contents of the page itself. That's why actually server rendered applications do a lot better when it comes to search engine optimization. So a really useful tool that I have been using is Google Search Console. Okay, so first I created my server rendered application with Next.js, and once that was done, now if you just do that, right, I created a public, a website to just go through and get all the same documents from my same database that are public documents, right? So if I had just left it as is, I think what would happen is over time, being a server-rendered application, over time, maybe after a couple of months, yes, Google would have crawled through most of my website's links and indexed them. So maybe if I had searched, this particular document, I would see it on Google, but that can take some time. So to speed it up, you can use Google Search Console, and that's really the main tip that I've been doing. And I can show you guys how exactly we do this. So first off, I set up a sitemap, right? Pretty simple. Oh, sorry. Let me. Okay, so it's just an XML file that has the links to my website. Now it doesn't have to have links to every single document, but this is just to help Google to crawl through these and find these pages, right? So a sitemap is something extremely helpful, and I can post my example and the description for you guys to see like what this would look like. But it's just a very simple XML file, just to help show Google, the formatting of your pages and to help it crawl these links better. So that's the first thing I did is I uploaded my sitemap. Okay. The next thing, and from there is I can see what pages have been indexed by Google. So you can see here, these have already been indexed. So originally, if I typed, register Bluebird documentation, I would just see this link. Again, this when I had my React project only, it's just this that comes up. But now I actually get the register page, but because I'm already registered, it's taking me back to the home page. Other than that, now what about those other links we saw, right? What about a particular document, right? So let's go back to all documents. Let's choose a page. So I can check. Let's take a look at this specific page. I want to see, has Google already inspected this URL? Has already indexed this URL. So let's take a look. Just copy paste the URL into there. Let's see. Okay, so this URL is not on Google. Okay, so what I can do is now you don't have to do this for every URL. Eventually, as time goes by, a couple weeks usually, it should hopefully index your page. But if not, I typed it in here in this inspection feature. I found it's not indexed yet. Okay, request indexing. And this should speed it up a little bit for this particular URL. And while that's going, let's take a look at a page that is indexed. Let's try this one. So I'm going to try that again. Okay. All right. Okay, and this one is indeed indexed. So let's do release planning. Okay, so I have two. I have the main page for public documentation. Now I have this, and it says undefined. That's an issue on my end. So it's because previously the name being passed to the title was not not being correctly fetched. But I can see now that this page is indeed indexed, and it's indeed visible on Google search as well as the original, but this was indexed before. So this is how I kind of improved the SEO for my website. So now the idea is that being a documentation website, I want these to be accessible to the public. When they search, they should be able to find these documents. And this is how I did that with Google Search Console. It's just a really helpful tool, not only for actually indexing the pages, but I can see is something actually out there. Has this page already been indexed? And being a fresh, application, obviously I don't have, much, stats to report on, but I can actually see these here. Another tip is you can see here the tab title. For my React app, it's all just Bluebird documentation for the most part. So if I go to a document, it stays mostly the same. So when you're trying to improve search engine optimization, try to utilize all that metadata, right? So here, if I'm on the main page, okay, it says, Bluebird documentation. But if I go to a particular document, you see that all the metadata is supposed to change. This helps Google crawl through your pages faster. Also, another thing is try to make your URL a little bit more readable. So relevant to the title. Something that I used to do, like for example, like the page or space ID, like 1 to 50, versus having the actual name of the document. Again, it helps Google crawl through your website links a lot faster and a lot easier. I hope you found this helpful for you. If you build your website through other means, like non-coding means, I'm not sure, like through no-code platforms or through Wix or Weebly, I don't know how those fare in terms of search engine optimization. I'm sorry, I don't have the answers for those. But this is, if you have built your own application, this is definitely how you can improve search engine optimization for your website.